The day I bought my dream home was supposed to be the moment my life finally felt peaceful again. But peace didn't last. Because the person who tried to take that home away from me was my own son. It still hurts to say it out loud. I remember standing on that porch, touching the door I worked so hard to earn, and hearing words no mother should ever hear. "Mom, you don't deserve this house. You should move out." My heart almost stopped. In life, the deepest pain doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the child you would have walked through fire for. And age doesn't weaken a mother's love, but it surely reveals who truly values it. This is She Echoed, where the quiet truths we carry finally find their voice. If this story touches something in you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your truth deserves to be echoed.
I never imagined that a dream could turn into a battlefield, and certainly not a home, especially not a home built after losing the person I loved most. When my husband died, grief didn't hit me in a single wave. It settled into my life like a quiet fog, heavy, cold, impossible to outrun. I remember waking up the first morning without him and feeling as though someone had rearranged the world while I was asleep. Nothing looked the same. Nothing felt familiar. The house we'd shared for decades turned into a museum of pain. His shoes by the door, his favorite cup in the kitchen, the chair where he read every night. Everything whispered memories so loudly I could barely breathe. People kept telling me time heals, but time doesn't heal by itself. You have to help it. And I knew staying in that house would keep the wound open forever. So when the inheritance came, the money my husband worked hard for, saved carefully, protected with love, I didn't see it as fortune. I saw it as permission, a final blessing from him, a way to start over, even if my heart didn't want to. After months of searching, I found it. A quiet, peaceful home on a gentle hill, surrounded by nature, kissed by warm sunlight, untouched by old memories. A house with a porch wide enough for morning coffee and evening reflections, a kitchen that felt alive, a garden with room for new beginnings. It wasn't extravagant, it wasn't loud, it simply felt like healing. I stood in the living room on the first day, windows open, air moving softly, and whispered into the empty room, "Thank you, my love. I hope you'd be proud of me." It felt like the first breath I had taken since the funeral. But as life often teaches us, peace is fragile, and sometimes the people we expect to protect it are the first to break it. My son wasn't thrilled when he heard I used my husband's inheritance to buy the house. He never said it outright, not at first. Instead, he let the disappointment drip slowly, like a leaking faucet you don't notice until the floor is flooded. He'd walk through the house and say things like, "Mom, isn't this too big for you? You don't need all this space at your age. You should have invested the money, not spent it all." I always responded gently, "Oh, sweetheart, I didn't spend it all." And it was true. I was careful. I am not irresponsible. But every time I reassured him, his expression never softened. It only grew tighter, like someone swallowing words they didn't want to say yet. I tried to ignore it. I told myself it was stress, work pressure, marriage tension. Mothers are experts at making excuses for their children. But the signs were there. He started visiting less, and on the days he came, he would run his fingers along the stair railing or stare at the backyard as if calculating something. One day he stood in the doorway of the master bedroom, my bedroom now, and whispered under his breath, not knowing I was right behind him, "All this wasted." Wasted? A home that was helping me heal? A home purchased with the memory of his father? A home filled with love. Wasted. I wanted to ask him what he meant, but I stayed silent. Sometimes silence feels safer than answers. But the truth always finds a way out, and mine arrived on a Sunday afternoon. He came by unannounced, something he never did anymore. He walked straight into the living room without greeting me, his jaw set, his eyes colder than I had ever seen. "Mom, we need to talk." Those words are rarely followed by anything good. I sat down cautiously. Of course, what's wrong? He looked around the house first. The walls, the furniture, the sunlight pouring in through the windows. Then he looked at me, as though preparing to break something fragile. "You don't deserve this house." My heart dropped so violently I felt it in my stomach. He kept going. "You should move out. It's too much for you. And Dad would have wanted us to use the money differently." Us. Not me. Not his mother. Not the woman who had spent her entire life sacrificing for him. Us. I felt my throat tighten. "Sweetheart, your father left that money for me, to take care of myself, to live in peace. He left it for the family." He never heard that tone from him before. Sharp, claiming, entitled. He continued, "I talked to my wife. We think it's best if you sell this place. You can buy something small, like an apartment. We'll handle everything." Handle everything? Meaning, take the house, take control, take what isn't theirs. I sat there frozen. This was the same child whose first steps I celebrated, whose scraped knees I kissed, whose fears I soothed. The same boy I stayed up with at night, whispering comfort through sickness and heartbreak. Now, he was standing in front of me telling me I didn't deserve the first peaceful thing I had touched in years. I didn't argue. My voice wouldn't come out. He mistook my silence for weakness, a mistake he would later regret. Before he left, he looked around once more, almost possessively. This house should stay in the family, as if I wasn't part of it. When the door finally closed behind him, I sank into the couch. Every part of me felt bruised, not from what he said, but from the realization that he had been thinking it for a long time. I pressed my hand against my chest, whispering into the empty room. "Why, my child? Why?" The house felt different now, not because it changed, but because I now knew I had to protect it, not just for myself, but for the memory of the man who trusted me with the life he built. And deep in my bones, I felt the first spark of something I hadn't felt since losing my husband. Strength. I didn't know it then, but this was only the beginning. This house would soon become the center of a battle I never asked for. With a twist, my son never saw it coming. I didn't have to wait long to understand what that battle would look like. Because 3 days after my son told me I didn't deserve my own home, he returned. But this time, he didn't come alone. It was a quiet Thursday afternoon. I was in the kitchen drying dishes when gravel crunched under tires in my driveway. I glanced through the window. My heart dropped. My son's car. And stepping out of the passenger side was his wife, arms folded, face stiff, walking with the confidence of someone who came with a plan. My stomach tightened. This wasn't a visit. This was something else, something heavier. I opened the front door before they knocked. He didn't hug me. He didn't greet me. He didn't even smile. "Mom," he said, his voice flat, "we need to talk." Again. Those 4 words had already changed my life once. Now they were back, colder, sharper. I stepped aside. "Come in." My daughter-in-law walked in first, like she owned the place. eyes scanning every corner of the living room, not with admiration, not even curiosity, with calculation. My son followed quietly, but his silence felt charged, like he wasn't here to listen, only to deliver something. "What's going on?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. His wife answered, not him. "We've thought about your situation, and we believe it's best if you sell the house." Just like that. No softness, no concern, no respect. I blinked. "My situation?" "Yes," she said, dropping a heavy folder on the coffee table. "Your age, your health, the amount of space here. It's all too much for one person." I felt a cold wave move through my chest. They were rehearsed, practiced, prepared. My son, the same boy who used to run to me when thunder scared him, sat across from me like a stranger. He opened the folder. Inside were printed pages, apartments listed for elderly living, notes on studio flats, cost breakdowns, and a real estate valuation for my house. My hands trembled. "When did you do all this?" My daughter-in-law crossed her legs, unbothered. "We started looking into options last week." Last week. Not after our conversation, not after they spoke with me, before. Before he ever told me I didn't deserve my home. This wasn't worry. This wasn't care. This was a plan that had been growing quietly behind my back. My son finally spoke. "Mom, we already found a buyer." I felt the room tilt. "A buyer?" My voice cracked. He nodded, not the slightest bit ashamed. "They want to close soon. It's a good price. You can get a smaller place and save the rest. It makes sense." Makes sense. To him, not to me. Not to the woman who built a life, buried a husband, and used his last act of love to create a safe space. His wife leaned forward, hands clasped, like she was negotiating a business deal. "You should move into a retirement apartment. They're smaller and easier to handle." Retirement apartment. Like I was furniture they wanted to put in storage. I lifted my chin. "I'm not selling this house." My daughter-in-law's lips curled. "Don't be unreasonable. You're making this harder than it needs to be." I stared at her. "I didn't ask for your opinion." My son's eyes flashed. "Mom, stop. We're trying to help you." Help. That word again. Twisted, misused, a mask for their greed. "I'm not helping you," I said quietly. "You're helping yourselves." Silence. Thick. Sharp. Truth-filled. His wife broke it with a scoff. "We talked to a lawyer." My heart stumbled. "A lawyer? For what?" "To challenge your ability to manage a property like this alone," she said with a smirk. "If you refuse to move, we'll let the court decide." The court. My own child wanted to drag me to court to take my house. I covered my mouth to stop the cry rising in my throat. "You would do that to me?" I whispered. My son didn't hesitate. "Yes, because you're not thinking clearly." No apology, no regret, just cold certainty. They stood up as if the conversation was over. "We'll start the legal process next week," his wife said, heading for the door. My son followed, but just before stepping out, he looked back at the home around him, not with nostalgia, not with sentiment, with possession. Like he already believed it was his. When the door closed behind them, I sank onto the couch. Everything inside me felt bruised. Not from fear of losing the house, but from realizing how little my son valued me. But they didn't know something. They didn't know the house wasn't just in my name. They didn't know my husband had left a letter for situations exactly like this. They didn't know I had met with our lawyer before buying this home and secured something they could never have imagined. The battle they thought I would lose, I was more prepared for than they ever suspected. And this time, I wasn't going to break. I was going to fight for my home, for my peace, for my husband's memory, and for myself. When the door shut behind them, the whole house went quiet. Too quiet. It was the kind of silence that wraps around your chest and doesn't let go, the kind that forces you to hear every thought you've tried to bury. I sat there on the couch, hands trembling in my lap, staring at the folder they had left behind. The papers, the valuations, the apartment listings, evidence of a plan I was never meant to be part of. For a long moment, I didn't move. I didn't cry. I just sat there, feeling the weight of something I never expected. Betrayal from my own child. My son, the same boy I once carried on my hip as he clung to my shirt and whispered, "Don't leave me, Mommy." Now he was ready to leave me and a tiny retirement box because the house his father helped build was too much for me. A shaky breath left my lips. They thought they understood everything. They thought they had the upper hand. They thought I was alone. But they were wrong. And the moment I stood up, the moment my feet touched the wooden floor, I felt it. Strength. Not the kind that roars. The kind that rises slowly, like dawn. Quiet but unstoppable. I walked to my bedroom, opened the top drawer of my dresser, and pulled out a small wooden box. It was the last thing my husband gave me before he died. Inside the box were 3 things: his wedding ring, a photo of us on our first anniversary, and the letter. The letter he wrote months before he passed, sealed in an envelope with my name on it. The first time I opened that box after his death, I wasn't ready for the words. Grief was too loud then. The pain was too fresh. But today I needed him. I needed his voice, his clarity, his protection. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. His handwriting greeted me, familiar, loving, steady. I inhaled deeply and read, "My love, if you are reading this, I'm no longer standing beside you, but I am still with you." A tear slid down my face instantly. He said, "I know our son. He has a good heart, but the world can change people, and grief can twist priorities." I pressed the letter closer to my chest. This house, this life, everything we built. I want you to live your years peacefully, and I made sure no one can ever take that away from you. My breath caught. My hands froze. My husband's next sentence changed everything. The inheritance is yours alone, legally protected, and no one, not even your son, can claim it or make decisions about it. My knees weakened. There was more. He said, "I met with our lawyer before I updated the will. He promised to protect you if anyone ever tried to challenge your independence. You are not alone. Not now, not ever." I had to sit down on the edge of my bed. My husband knew. Not exactly what would happen, but he knew enough about life and people and how money changes hearts. I kept reading. He said, "If someone tries to pressure you, remind them of the trust documents and the transfer protections. The house will always be yours as long as you choose. No court can take it from you." I covered my mouth, sobbing into my hand. They thought they could drag me to court. They thought they could push me out. They thought they could scare me. But my husband, even in death, had stood in front of me like a shield. The final part of the letter broke me completely. He said, "And my love, If your heart ever feels weak, remember this. You spent your entire life protecting our family. Now protect yourself. I trust you. I believe in you. Fight if you must. And know this, you deserve peace. My tears fell on the page, not from sadness, from relief, from validation, from the gentle strength of a man who loved me even in his last breath. I folded the letter carefully, kissed its edge, and placed it back inside the box. Then I wiped my eyes, stood up straight, and walked to the phone. My hands weren't shaking anymore. I dialed a number I hadn't used since my husband died, the number of our family lawyer. He answered on the second ring. "Hello?" "It's me," I said softly. "I think it's time I come in." A pause. Then his voice lowered with familiarity and calm. "I've been expecting your call." I swallowed. "My son, he's trying to take my house." "I see. Do you have the documents your husband and I prepared?" "Yes," I whispered. "All of them." "Good. Then he has no case. Let's talk tomorrow. Don't worry. You're protected." Protected. The word landed like warm sunlight on my skin. When I ended the call, I stood in the middle of my bedroom, the room my son had looked at with disgust, calling it wasted. Wasted. No. Nothing is wasted when it was built with love and protected with intention. And I was done being quiet. My son had declared a battle, but he didn't know I had already been armed long before he ever showed up with his folder and fake concern. This time, I wasn't the fragile one. I wasn't the weak one. I wasn't the mother who would bend. I was the woman my husband trusted to carry his legacy, and I was ready to fight. For him, for myself, for the home they thought they could rip away. And the next time my son came back, he would face a version of me that he had never seen before. The version who wouldn't tremble, wouldn't apologize, wouldn't surrender. Because this house wasn't just walls, it was a promise. One I intended to keep. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. Not because I couldn't sleep, but because for the first time in a long time, my heart felt steady. I brewed a cup of tea, wrapped a shawl around my shoulders, and sat on the porch as the world shifted from gray to gold. My husband always said sunrise was a reminder that no night lasts forever. And as I watched the light break through the trees, I felt something break through inside me, too. Fear stepped back. Strength stepped forward. I wasn't going to hide anymore. I wasn't going to be bullied in my own home. I wasn't going to be treated like a problem they needed to handle. Today, I was taking the first step to protect myself. By 10 a.m., I was sitting in the lawyer's office, the same cozy room where my husband and I once planned our future, the same room where he signed the papers that would later save me. My lawyer, Mr. Davis, greeted me with a warm but serious expression. "You look stronger than I expected," he said. "I feel stronger than I expected," I replied. He motioned for me to sit. "Tell me everything that happened." I did. Every word, every detail, every cold sentence my son and his wife threw at me like stones. When I finished, Mr. Davis didn't look surprised. He just sighed. "I'm sorry you're going through this," he said gently. "But the good news is, legally, they can't touch this house." I exhaled, tension loosening from my shoulders. "But," he added, "they can make noise, They can threaten. They can try to manipulate you. They can file claims that go nowhere but still cause stress. I nodded slowly. That sounds exactly like them. That's why we should act first. The words hung in the air, powerful. Act first? I repeated. He leaned forward, opening a folder he had prepared. Yes, we file a legal notice that confirms your full ownership, reaffirms the trust your husband set up, and blocks any attempt by relatives to challenge your capacity or decisions. It's basically a shield. A shield. My husband had been a shield all his life, and even now, his choices continued protecting me. What do you need from me? I asked. Just your signature, he said. My fingers hesitated only for a second before I took the pen. As the ink touched the paper, I felt a strange mixture of grief and empowerment. This was never a battle I wanted, but it was one I was now ready to win. When I finished signing, Mr. Davis nodded, satisfied. I'll file this immediately, and if your son comes back with any threats, send him to me. A small smile slipped onto my face. The first in weeks. Thank you, I whispered. You're not alone, he reminded me, echoing my husband's words from the letter. When I returned home, the house felt different. Not fragile, not vulnerable. Protected, claimed, mine. I walked from room to room, touching the walls, the door frames, the windows, as if reassuring the house I wasn't going anywhere. My husband's presence felt stronger than ever, like he was walking with me. I spent the rest of the afternoon cleaning, rearranging small things, watering the plants. Not because the house needed it, but because I needed to feel grounded. Night fell softly. I had just finished dinner when I heard a car pull into the driveway. My heart stilled. I didn't need to look. I knew the sound. My son. A familiar knock echoed through the house. Sharp, impatient. I opened the door slowly. He stood there, alone this time. No wife, no fake smiles, no rehearsed speech. Just anger in his eyes, burning hot and uncontrolled. Mom, he snapped, walking in without waiting for permission. Why did you call a lawyer? So he found out fast. I closed the door behind him calmly. I called him to protect myself. He threw his hands up. From me? Are you serious? You're acting paranoid. I looked him in the eyes. Really looked. This wasn't the boy I raised. Not the one who used to ask me to tuck him in twice, just in case. Not the one who cried when he accidentally broke my vase in 4th grade. This was a man shaped by entitlement, and maybe by someone whispering poison in his ear. I'm not paranoid, I said softly. I'm prepared. You didn't need to do that, he hissed. We were trying to help you. Help again. The word tasted bitter now. You and your wife planned everything behind my back. You found a buyer. You looked up retirement flats. You prepared papers before even speaking to me. He froze. Just for a moment. Then his jaw clenched. That's because you weren't thinking straight. On the contrary, I've never been clearer. He stepped closer, voice rising. Mom, listen, this house is too much for you. It's easier if... No. I cut in gently. It's easier for you and for her. His nostrils flared. She just wants what's best for our family. And where do I fit in that family? I asked calmly. Do I count? He didn't answer. Silence. Thick. Heavy. Telling. Then he tried something new. Something softer, but darker. Mom, you're being stubborn. If you don't cooperate, you're forcing us to take legal action. He expected me to break. He expected me to beg. He expected the same woman who once soothed his childhood nightmares to crumble at the threat of him becoming one. Instead, I straightened my back. I won't be forced, I said quietly. Then we'll see what the court says, he snapped. I met his gaze not with fear, but with calm certainty. The court, I said, will say exactly what your father arranged years ago. His expression cracked. What? I let the words drop like heavy stones. This house is mine. The inheritance is mine. Legally protected, locked by a trust your husband created. You can't take it. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. His mouth opened, then closed. Shock. Confusion. Anger. His entire plan collapsing in front of him. How do you know that? He demanded. I stepped closer, placing a hand over my heart. Because your father loved me enough to protect me, even from this moment. He swallowed hard, eyes flickering. And for the first time, I saw fear in him, not me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I simply said, "Leave, please." He hesitated. "Mom, leave," I repeated, stronger this time. After a long, tense silence, he walked out. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt safe because I had finally taken my power back.
For the first time in weeks, I slept peacefully. No pacing, no waking up in panic, no imagining footsteps in the hallway or whispered threats. Just silence. Real silence. The kind that comes from knowing you finally stood up for yourself. But peace is fragile. And in my life, calm rarely lasted longer than a day. The next morning, I opened the curtains and breathed in the crisp air. I felt lighter, stronger, as if reclaiming my home had placed my feet back on solid ground. But around noon, a sleek white SUV pulled into my driveway. My stomach tightened instantly. My daughter-in-law. Of course. She stepped out wearing oversized sunglasses, a sharp blazer, and a smile so forced it looked painful. The type of smile people wear when they're about to strike, but want it to look polite. I opened the door before she reached it. "Hello, dear," I said calmly. She pushed past me without waiting for permission, so much like my son the previous night, invading spaces like they owned them. She walked straight into the living room, the same room where she had once complimented the decor, fake as sugar-coated poison. She turned to me slowly. "So," she said, dropping her purse on the couch, "I heard you've decided to make things difficult. Difficult. A word manipulators love. I'm protecting what's mine,
I replied. She laughed, a single sharp laugh. Yours? She repeated. Do you know how selfish you sound? I didn't respond. I'd learned that silence can be louder than shouting. She began pacing the room, her heels clicking like tiny hammers against the polished floor. Do you even realize what you're doing to our family? Do you know how much this house could help us? Ah, finally, the truth. It wasn't about me. It was never about me. It was about money. It was about comfort. It was about the life they wanted, funded by something they didn't earn. I'm not responsible for your finances, I said gently. She spun around. You're responsible for holding us back. Her voice cracked, not with sadness, but with frustration that their plan was failing. You're living here alone in a big house. She pointed at the walls, the stairs, everything. We could use this home. We could raise our children here, but you want to rot in it by yourself. Rot. She used the word rot. I blinked slowly. You know what I want, I said softly, is to grieve in peace, to live in peace, and to be respected as a human being, not seen as an obstacle. She scoffed. You're playing the victim. Am I? Or are you upset because your plan fell apart? Her jaw clenched. I'd hit the nerve. She took a deep breath, steadying herself, switching tactics. Manipulators always have layers. Listen, she said softer. I'm trying to save this family from conflict, but you're forcing us into a difficult position. What position? I asked. She smiled again. Slow, cold, patient. We can still win this. My cousin works in a courthouse. My friend knows someone in adult services. And your son? My son? I interrupted sharply. What about him? She hesitated for half a second. Then the truth slipped out. He's ready to testify that you're not mentally capable of handling property anymore. My chest tightened. Not from fear, but from heartbreak so deep it stole my breath. My son, the boy I raised, the child I poured my life into, was willing to stand in front of strangers and call me incapable. His wife watched my reaction closely, almost studying me. This doesn't have to get ugly, she said. Just sell the house, take an apartment, make things easy. Easy? For who? I asked. Her mask slipped completely. Anger flooded her eyes. For us, she shouted. We deserve this house more than you. There it was. Greed, naked and unfiltered. They didn't care about my health. They didn't care about my comfort. They didn't care about my grief. They cared about a beautiful house they didn't build and didn't pay for. I see, I whispered. She stepped closer, lowering her voice again. You're old. You don't need a big home. Why don't you let younger people enjoy it? I lifted my chin. When my husband and I worked for this home, we were young too. Did anyone give it to us? No, we earned it. She rolled her eyes. That's ancient history. Ancient history. My life, my memories, my marriage, reduced to ancient history? Before I could speak, her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, tapped a quick message, and then smiled in triumph. He's on his way, she said coolly. Your son. We're going to settle this today. I felt something shift inside me.
Not fear, not anger. A deep, grounded strength. The kind that comes only after being pushed too far for too long. "I'm fine with that," I said. She blinked, surprised, because she thought I was the weak one, the easy one, the breakable one. But she didn't know about the letter. She didn't know about the documents. She didn't know the legal shield was already in place. She didn't know I wasn't fighting alone. We heard the tires on the driveway, then the car door slam, then footsteps approaching the house. My daughter-in-law straightened her blazer, smoothed her hair, and smiled like she had already won. "Be reasonable," she said. "It's 2 against 1. Don't embarrass yourself." I looked her dead in the eyes. "I think you're the one who's about to be embarrassed." Before she could respond, the door opened. My son stepped in, tense, angry, ready for battle. But he paused when he saw me standing there so calmly. "Mom," he said, "we're doing this now." I nodded. "Yes," I answered softly. "We are." He took a step closer. "This house is protected by a legal trust," I said, cutting him off. "Filed, activated, and untouchable." His wife's face drained of color. My son blinked slowly, confused. "What do you mean, filed?" I stepped forward. "I met with Mr. Davis yesterday. Everything your father set up is in motion. This house belongs to me as long as I live. No sale, no transfer, no court challenge, nothing." Silence snapped through the room. His wife sputtered first. "That's impossible. She can't. She's lying." But my son knew I wasn't lying. He saw something in my eyes he hadn't seen before. Strength, certainty, finality. I lifted my chin. "I will not be threatened, I will not be moved, and I will not be bullied out of the only place that still feels like home." Her daughter-in-law's mouth twisted in fury. "This isn't over," she hissed. "Oh, it is," I said. "And you lost." She grabbed her purse, stormed past me, and slammed the door so hard the walls shook. My son hesitated, torn between his wife and his guilt. "Mom?" he whispered. But I walked away. Because for the first time in this entire battle, I didn't owe him an explanation. I owed myself peace.
The house was quiet again, too quiet almost. I wandered from room to room, touching the walls, running my fingers along the railings, checking the windows. Each familiar corner whispered a promise. This home was mine, protected, untouchable. But even in the calm, my heart was alert, because battles like these never end quietly. They only pause until the next move. I didn't have to wait long. That evening, as the golden light faded into the soft glow of lamps, I heard it, a knock. One knock, deliberate, heavy, insistent. My chest tightened. I already knew who it was. My son. Alone this time. No wife to back him up. No rehearsed lines. Just him and the weight of the confrontation he could no longer avoid. I opened the door slowly. His eyes met mine, a storm contained in a familiar face. Hurt, anger, confusion, and something else. Something new. I don't understand, he said quietly, almost a whisper. "Why are you so calm?" I stepped aside. "Because I'm done being afraid." He looked around the living room, at the furniture, the sunlight spilling across the floors, at the life he once dismissed as wasted. His gaze softened just a fraction, and in that moment, I saw the boy he had been, the one who had once needed me to hold him, guide him, love him. But adulthood had wrapped him in entitlement, grief had clouded his perspective, and now reality was setting in. I thought... "You thought you could take what wasn't yours?" I interrupted, my voice firm but gentle. "You thought I would crumble, beg, or surrender. You miscalculated." He swallowed hard. Words failed him. I didn't know I didn't know you had the legal documents." I finished for him. I held up the small wooden box with my husband's letter inside, letting the light glint off the seal. He flinched, and for the first time in months, I saw hesitation, doubt, recognition of the mistake he almost committed. "You were planning all this while we were..." I nodded slowly. "Not planning to fight, planning to protect. For me, for what your father and I built, for the home we both loved." He sank into the nearest chair, finally letting himself look tired, exhausted, conflicted, vulnerable. And in that moment, I realized something. This wasn't just a battle over a house. It was a reckoning, a breaking point for both of us. I walked closer, carefully, without fear, without anger. "Do you understand now?" I asked softly. "This house, it's not a prize, it's a promise. A promise your father made to me, and I intend to keep it." Tears welled in his eyes, not because he was defeated, not because I had won, but because he finally saw the truth, that his actions had been wrong, that entitlement could not erase love, loyalty, or legality. I don't know what to say," he whispered. "You don't need to say anything," I replied. "Just understand and respect it." Silence fell again, but it felt different this time. Less heavy, less threatening, more honest. He nodded, slowly, almost painfully. "I'm sorry," he said finally. I didn't see. I was angry. I was grieving," I finished. "And that's okay. But you don't get to hurt me while grieving." He swallowed hard, and for the first time, I didn't feel the anger I had carried for him over weeks. I felt relief, release, closure. But peace, I knew, is never simple. There would be healing to do between us, inside him, inside me. But for now, I had won the immediate battle. The house was safe. My husband's legacy was safe, and I was standing tall, unbroken. He lingered for a moment, looking around the house one last time before he turned to leave. "Mom," he said, voice low, "thank you for protecting it. And for me, I guess." I smiled softly, a quiet warmth spreading through my chest. "You're welcome," I said. "And remember, peace isn't given, it's protected, just like this home." He nodded, eyes glistening, and left. I closed the door slowly, feeling the echo of his footsteps fade. The house was quiet again, but this time it wasn't fragile, it wasn't threatened, it was strong. It was mine, and I finally felt the quiet, deep lasting kind of peace I had been waiting for. I walked through each room slowly, touching the walls, the windows, the furniture. Each one was a witness to the battle that had been waged. Each one a reminder of the love, courage, and resilience that had protected it. I picked up the letter from my husband again and held it close. I did as you asked. I protected our life. I protected our love, and I'm still here. And for the first time in months, I let myself sit in the living room, close my eyes, and breathe. Really breathe. The battle was over, at least for now, but the lesson remained clear. Strength isn't born from comfort. It's forged in the fires of betrayal, greed, and love. And I had been forged into someone unshakable. This house, this sanctuary, was no longer just walls and windows. It was proof. Proof that even when those closest to you falter, even when pain comes from the ones you love, you can stand. You can fight. You can protect what's sacred. And I would never forget it. Because some battles aren't just about winning. They're about remembering who you are. And I remembered.
The next morning, the sunlight spilled into the house like a gentle promise. For the first time in months, I didn't wake with the weight of fear pressing down on my chest. No anxiety twisting my stomach, no imagining footsteps in the hallway, no rehearsing what I would say if someone tried to take from me what my husband had left. I breathed deeply, savoring the calm that finally felt real. The house, my house, hummed with the quiet rhythm of life. I walked to the kitchen and brewed a cup of tea. The steam rose gently, curling like a soft whisper in the morning light. I wrapped my hands around the warm mug and let myself feel it. Gratitude, relief, triumph. Because I had fought. I had stood firm. And I had won. Not in anger, not in malice, not in revenge, but in courage, in dignity, in love for the life my husband and I had built together. The memories of the battle lingered, the arguments, the threats, the betrayal from my own son, but they no longer carried power over me. I sat by the window, looking out at the garden my husband had loved. The roses bloomed in quiet defiance, the way I now felt inside. Strong, upright, unshakable. I thought about the letter again. His words were more than ink on paper. They were a shield, a map, a reminder of my worth. You spent your entire life protecting our family. Now protect yourself. I trust you. I believe in you. Fight if you must. And know this, you deserve peace. I had fought. And now, finally, I could embrace peace. The doorbell rang, and I paused. Not because I feared it, but because I was curious who would arrive now. It was the neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, holding a basket of fresh bread and apples. I just wanted to check in, she said, smiling warmly. You've been through so much, dear, but I can see you're standing taller. I smiled, a genuine smile, unburdened by fear or doubt. Yes, I said softly, I am. The day passed slowly, each hour wrapping me in a gentle reassurance that the home, the life I had fought to protect, was safe. I moved from room to room, arranging flowers, dusting shelves, straightening cushions.
Not out of necessity, but to remind myself of ownership, of stability, of normality reclaimed. In the evening, I lit the candles my husband had loved, watching the soft glow dance across the walls. I whispered to the empty room, "Thank you for the fight, for the protection, for everything." I felt a presence, as if he was standing beside me, not watching, not judging, just steady, quiet, and proud. I realized then that this peace, this unshakable calm, wasn't about never facing challenges again. It was about knowing I had the strength to face them. It was about recognizing my value. It was about honoring the life my husband and I had built together and the woman I had always been underneath the weight of grief and fear. Later that night, I sat on the porch with a blanket around my shoulders, staring at the stars. The world felt vast, beautiful, and full of possibilities. I thought about the battle with my son, the confrontation with his wife, the threats that had once haunted me. And I smiled, because the house wasn't just a home anymore. It was a testament, a reminder that love, courage, and determination could withstand even the sharpest betrayals. And my heart, for the first time in what felt like forever, was at peace. I realized I could now live fully, without fear, without apology, without guilt. The legal shield, the letter, the careful planning, they had all served their purpose. But more than that, I had discovered something profound about myself. I am resilient. I am worthy. I am strong. I finished my tea and set the empty cup aside. Then I walked through the house one last time that night, touching each familiar surface, whispering gratitude for the life I had fought to protect. I sat in my husband's chair by the window, looking out at the garden, the trees, the stars, and I let myself truly rest, because battles are not always won in a single day, and peace is not always given freely. But when you fight for it, when you protect it with every ounce of courage and love, it can be yours. And mine finally was. The house, my husband's legacy, my own strength, and the life I was determined to live all belonged to me. And in that belonging, I found something far greater than victory. I found the quiet, enduring, untouchable truth. I deserved this peace, and I would never let anyone take it away again.
Thank you for spending your time with me. If this story touched something in you, share your thoughts in the comments. Your truth deserves to be echoed. This is She Echoed, where every story finds its voice.